Good morning.
That was better.
Good morning. Oh my gosh. I feel so comfy in this sweatshirt.
You look cute in that sweatshirt.
I do. What does it say?
Living my best champagne life.
Oh.
But the back is really cute too.
Oh, should I turn around?
You should.
Okay.
Yeah,
Here, read it.
Hair.
Don't look at the back of my hair.
So Jackie is in her You Deserve Champagne era.
Yes. And as I turn, I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Yes. I am so excited for you to be here today and to share what that means for you and how you're doing it day to day, which is how we actually met.
Yes.
But before we start with any conversation, I always like to ask a very existential question, Gigi. Who is Gigi? Who are you?
I am Gigi, who didn't always celebrate herself and is on her own journey, just trying to figure out ways to have a better quality life.
Ooh, do you feel that? Do you feel that? I feel that. I felt that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's I know for me, like being around people like you and the way you're treating yourself like that is like very important to me. And it's it's special. So thank you.
You're special. As soon as I met you, I knew that you would understand this journey, that self-celebration is not easy. And if it would be easy, we would be doing it more often. But I knew you would get it.
Oh my God.
The people who get it.
Get it, yeah. Oh my God, that's so interesting. You're right. Because I think within the first, literally like that first conversation, we connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I take a deep breath because I'm like, oh my God, like, I do believe in timing, and I just feel like, oh my God, like I totally see what you're doing, and I see how powerful it is and how important it is. So I'm really happy for you to be here today. She's talking about this idea of like what we deserve, and so that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
I guess the puns are great because her company name is You Deserve Champagne, but it just coincided that way because a lot of what you're doing, what I'm doing, was very purposeful because it's the way we want to experience our world, our life. And so today the topic is what do we deserve, Gigi?
We deserve the best quality life, AKA you deserve champagne in life.
Oh, dang. And we are going to have potentially some champagne, maybe at some point in this conversation.
We absolutely will.
Right. But first coffee.
First coffee, yeah.
Coffee,
idonas.
Which ones did we pick today? So you like chocolate and glaze, so I got you.
Oh, I love all really, except any like cream filled. I'm not.
You're not into that.
No.
Okay.
But yeah, this is perfect.
We also brought this one. I know you weren't really into maple, but I want you to try this one because it's a type of the dough. We had a guest a few weeks ago, and she introduced me to this one. I think it's like a French donut or something like that.
I love anything French.
Oh, there you go, girl. It
just pairs well really with champagne.
Then we're gonna have, maybe at the end we'll have some donuts y champagne.
I like that idea.
Okay. So before we go into like what we deserve, like you're hearing champagne a lot, you're seeing this, like, do you want to share a little bit about, I don't know, it's almost like I can ask you about your business, but it's almost like I kind of have to we have to all understand, like, how do you get to a place where you call your business something that you deserve? Because the truth is, like, you don't really hear that a lot. In fact, I don't really hear that, even that phrase, this idea of that you're deserving of something.
I love that.
You know what I mean? Like, You don't hear that a lot. And if you do, it's like, I know, they said, like, it's like, oh, that's too much,
It's too much. It is, I feel like we're often seen in a way where we are entitled.
Yes, there we go. That's the word.
Yeah, but absolutely not. So I'm going to elaborate on why I even came up with You Deserve Champagne. You Deserve Champagne really came from a place of frustration. It really came from a place of hating my day-to-day life. I hated my job. I hated everything that was going on around me. And I felt like I was always looking for the title, the salary, the recognition. I wanted to be I wanted to do more and more and more, and I felt like I wasn't getting to that place where I was feeling fulfilled. And
may I ask you, because
of course,
along the way you're gonna say things and I'm like, oh, like let's stop right here, let's a little detour right here. What you're saying is like this idea of you wanted this, you wanted that, but like, can you honestly ask yourself right now at that time why that was so important?
Yeah, because the kind of person that I was in the workplace and in my personal life, I always wanted to do more. I just felt like I'm the kind of person that like wanted to learn more, and I wanted to evolve. I was so hungry. So I felt like if I'm putting in this, then I deserve something in return.
That's the word,
right?
yeah.
And I came across throughout the journey, I definitely came across maybe some people that felt like it was entitlement, but I feel like what person doesn't go to school and they deserve to have the best career? Right? You go to school and it's obvious that you would want something in return.
Yeah.
You work really hard at something and you kind of expect it to happen. And if we're kind of talking about expectation, when we manifest, we expect that because we're working towards that. So it didn't make sense to me where I was working really hard. I was putting in the work. I was, often in the workplace, we're like, if you do this, then we'll give you this. Then I did all that. And that never happened. So then that's kind of where I started to think, well, no one can make me feel like I don't deserve that. And it was a mind shift.
Can we just can you say that one more time? Because that's like,
yeah.
What did you feel?
I felt like no one can make me feel like I don't deserve something, because not only me, but anybody.
Yeah.
And I think that's where really this mindset came from of feeling like it's not even about consuming champagne. That's a whole nother thing. Of course, I love that. But it was mainly like in life, you deserve champagne. And I remember going to restaurants and I was like, oh my God, everyone drinking champagne is so fabulous. Well, they're acting a certain way. They're looking a certain way. I'm like, I deserve that. So then it just started making sense, putting everything together. But it was really during a difficult time of my life where I decided that I deserve champagne in life.
I have so many questions. Sorry. I'm like, oh my God, I love this.
And if I go...
No,
I'm like everywhere
this is the whole point of a coffee chat.
Okay.
You know when you're having coffee with your friend, you go in so many directions.
Totally.
But first of all, I love that you're saying this idea. You said something really, really, really awesome. And it's funny because now that I've done some healing and some work, I'm like, oh yeah, this makes sense. This for me brings me joy. It makes me understand how I can really... be open to understanding that I deserve things. But you said something, you're like, how they embody themselves, how they carry themselves, how they're experiencing life.
Yes.
Because somebody asked me, they're like, oh, confidence comes from, when do you feel like a badass, And so I feel like there's a correlation of that, of sometimes you just have to you just have to embody what it is that you feel you deserve.
Yes.
So is that something that throughout this experience, that's, you build more and more of that? Or did you realize you always had that sort of thing about you where you're like, wait?
I feel like in a way, I did have a little bit of it, but it was it wasn't consistent. It was, I deserve champagne every now and then, because then I was kind of falling back into my own circle of frustration, of all the negative self-talk, things like that. But once I became consistent, I was like, no one can stop me. I absolutely deserve it, and I just don't care. I don't care anymore.
Yes.
And I want more people to feel that way, where often we stop doing things that we want because we feel like for whatever reason, we're not good enough. We don't deserve it, but we absolutely do.
I'm just yes, we absolutely do. There's so often that you mentioned consistency, and listen, I always try to be devil's advocate, because when I hear the word consistent, I'm like, this is me prior to the work I've done, right? Me today, I'm like, yeah, girl, yes. But I feel like sometimes the barriers are like you were saying, we self-talk, or we can't hit certain goals, and so we just give up, or we're just maybe this isn't for us, or maybe we don't deserve this, right? So for those people out there who might be feeling these things that I know both of us have experienced, what do you think have been moments where you're like, I don't know if it was something that happened where you're like, oh, it's a reminder of like, no, I'm gonna keep going. Like this is working for me. This is making me happy.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad that you bring that up because life is gonna happen. Like life is gonna happen. What is it? Life is lifing.
Life, yeah, life be laughing, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I'm not saying that life doesn't happen and there's no times of frustration when you're consistently celebrating yourself. It happens often, and I definitely have my seasons.
Yeah.
I have my really great seasons where I'm more consistent, but I definitely have seasons where I'm not. And I think that's when I realized that You Deserve Champagne is there for me to remind me that it's okay to feel a certain way, but you have to get back on track because I am happier when I am celebrating myself. I am happier when I'm sharing with other women that they also should feel the same way.
Yeah.
So I think You Deserve Champagne really became more impactful for me was when like my mom got sick and she almost didn't make it. And I had to remind myself that I deserve champagne during the lowest times of my life. And that was probably the most defining moment in my life because when you're kind of out of a season of like maybe like a dark season, you're like on a high, you're happy, you're celebrating yourself, you're deserving champagne, but You Deserve Champagne really means the most when you're low, when it's dark.
I'm really proud of you because, you know, sometimes like you said, when things are great and then you're reminded of these, you know, things that happen, you know, some of us, we just go the other way. We go, oh my God, I really don't deserve champagne. But there's a resilience in you that you're like, no, like even in these moments, like I deserve.
Yes.
And that's really special. And I think that that is something that I hope people who are watching can understand that like, those are, it's funny because, you know, and this is how conversations go, right? Because it can lead to so many different open doors. But this idea of like when unfortunate things happen, right? Or when change happens that we weren't expecting, whether it's health or work or family or relationships, right? And those are moments where I know for me, I get stuck. And that was my what is it? My MO growing up. It was like change was really hard for me, and it would just like, oh man, it would just like take me down, and I don't realize like, wait, but I've done all this other stuff to help me through that. And a lot of the times we don't see that. And I honestly think, I really do think like a lot of those times that I would like do that, I'd be like, I'm not deserving of that. This is too good to be true.
Yes. Or like we feel like we can't say it too much because something's going to happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, often I feel like we're so focused on what if it's too good to be true rather than what if it's too good to be true and it's going to be like that for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's very normal.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens to me all the time too.
Yeah.
And it's just a learning those habits that you're saying. You learn certain ways to cope with certain situations in life when life is happening.
Yeah.
But it's also really great to have that reminder that, hey, I'm working really hard to live a best quality life. Well, it's okay to be down, but all right, come on, let's get up.
And even the way you're saying it, the best quality life, like, I mean, growing up, like, I didn't even think about it.
Totally.
That was, you know what I mean? Like, it was always this chase of, like, fixing myself or, like, this is going to make me better. And so when I hear this idea of, like, what you're deserving of, it's, like, it really resonates with me because in my journey, I realized, like, oh, my God, like, and this is, I get a little philosophical here, but I really do think, like, wow, like, I didn't realize that, like, just existing is you're worthy, you deserve, like, you're a human being, like, you know, I've had a lot of conversations with people where it's like, dude, you woke up today. Like, you're still here on this planet.
Yes.
Like, the world worked for you to still be here. Like, you are worthy of being here. I don't know if that's...
No, I get that. And I think that maybe we often don't think that because maybe we haven't experienced someone not waking up that day. So I think once you experience that low of maybe not having someone and you're like, when you think about your existence and you think about like, who matter, like if you didn't wake up today, like who would be affected? I think about my nephews, my sister, my mom, my partner. Like I think that once you think about that, it becomes more special for you to think about like why. You know?
And it's I have a interesting experience with with death and loss and stuff like that. So to hear you say that, it's like, oh yeah, like I think I'm trying to be more comfortable with it because it is a part of life. I don't know if you can see, but there's a picture. You see Charlie? Somebody drew Charlie.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so above it is a picture. Above that is a picture of my friend Rebecca, who was my friend in high school, and she passed away actually February 3rd. It's coming up. We were 16, and it was 2003. And I saw her that day, and by the end of the day, she was gone. She was unfortunately, like, she was jaywalking and was hit by a car. And so even now, I'm like, I feel really comfortable talking about it because a couple years ago, I probably couldn't have. But, you know, I think you're right. I think there comes a time and place where you have to, like, recognize, like, who is special to you. And, you know, you talk about, like, oh, like, no one's going to tell you what you deserve. Like, you do. Like, the moment you can, like, really embrace that and not let other people be the deciding factors of your life, like, it is, I don't know for you, but it's quite liberating. That's why, like, I feel like what you're doing is like a liberation movement.
Honestly,
right?
I feel like, because it all starts with myself. Like, I totally felt that once I decided that no boss, no person, no family member, no friend, regardless of what stage or what season you are in life, I don't care. Like, I deserve champagne. And it's not, and I always say this, it's not about consuming champagne.
Right.
It's you can't.
Yeah, I was gonna be like,
we love to celebrate ourselves, and of course there's like no other feeling than popping bubbly. But it's really about like having that mindset just in life. Whenever you are trying to make a decision and you can't, what do they say? Making a decision is a decision? Is that how it goes?
I don't know, but I like that.
Yeah, making a decision or like indecisiveness is a decision or whatever. Don't quote me.
I see what you. No, but decision making. You hit something really important. Is like decision making is literally the make it or break it of like how you're going to decide how you're going to take a change, how you're going to if you're going to speak up for yourself, or you know what I mean.
Yes.
Like what are the choices you're going to make? And a lot of times we get stuck, or we make other people or outside things make the decision for us.
Yes.
And so I think you're.
I got it. Not making a decision. Is still making a decision.
Oh, yeah, because a lot of us feel like we have to like go.
Like, I don't want to think about it, but it's still. So when I guess my point is, whenever you are in this situation, like just think about your champagne life, like how, like what makes more sense for you, and it might change. Like who cares? Like, and I don't say like who cares, like whatever, but I feel like when you stop stressing so much about that decision. You know what's best for you. Yeah. You know? Yeah. You're hitting something really hard and that's really why this is where I'm gonna go next with this is like I'm sure a lot of you are hearing like that's great. Like the two of us, we're in our champagne era, we can make better decisions, we can, like you said, like what do I want? And I think what I want to explore right now with you is like let's really dive deep into like it's hard to get there, truthfully. Like I'm sitting here really happy because I'm happy that I am in that era and that I'm able to do this, that I can do this with you, have this moment with you. It's amazing. Like I'm so happy. But I also know it took a lot of internal work to get here, to sit here with you. I'm sure if I had not done that, even you too, right? The fact that you faced what you were feeling got you to this point. So what I want to talk about is like, you were frustrated at work and you were like, enough is enough. Like for you, like, I'm sure there were many moments that you were frustrated, but what was like, you know, what was a moment where you're like, oh my God, like what was going through your mind, I would say, of like saying like, as you were navigating this, like, I'm going to leave this and do my thing. Like, talk to me about that little window there that makes you kind of like go, vámonos. So I think it's really a great point that you bring up because it's all of it. I always talk about that champagne mindset.
Yes.
And honestly, I didn't start working on that. I started and then I would stop because of life situations. And sometimes we get so focused with our day-to-day life that we don't even really think about it until we are faced with a difficulty in life where we're like, oh, I need to revisit how I can improve myself.
Can I tell you a little Oprah thing with that?
Yeah.
So, because you saw Oprah.
I can't think of your bathroom now.
I
can't stop thinking about your bathroom now.
So Oprah, what you're saying is like Oprah says this thing where it's like sometimes the voice in your head is whispering. until it's so damn loud that you can't hear anything else. And so that reminds me, what you're saying, like reminds me a lot of like, but that also goes back to like trusting yourself. Anyways, continue. But I thought that was like,
I love that. No, I love that. Because it's true. So I truly started like digging into personal development when my dad passed away 12 years ago. So I was kind of in and out of it. Not very consistently, but I think that's when really I was faced with something very difficult, and I didn't know how to escape. Like I didn't know how to like free myself from that pain. So I think dabbing into personal development, I kind of started consistently like 5 years after my dad passed away.
Yeah, that's how it happens. It's just, you were probably seeding it, and it was...
Yeah, so I think it was like in the back of my mind where I'm like, okay, well, you know, you see life differently, and you start thinking about like, okay, and now I know life can move very quickly. How can I have the best quality of life whenever I'm in any job or in any situation or whatever, right? Yeah. So I think I started kind of dabbing into personal development again when I was frustrated at work. And I started, like, kind of my escape was just seeing people like live their best life. I know it's kind of weird, but it can be consuming, and it can be a little negative if you're not careful. But during that time, like just feeding off of other people's energy, like that I would see on maybe like social media, or even like going out for dinner and you're seeing someone happy, like it's contagious. Yeah. So I think honestly, just like, I'm not a huge reader, but I remember reading certain things that like I would get books and I would read like the same thing that just resonated with me. I would go to a lot of seminars, like positively, like positive improving, like seminars. I would like find myself, like I have one of my really good friends, she would invite me. And I think that's where like my life really changed, because I was like learning things, and I was surrounded by people that wanted to change. So it was just contagious, to be honest with you. So personal development. Yeah.
How does it feel sharing this with me? Sharing like what you were doing, and like I'm just curious, like how do you feel sharing this with me? Like I don't know how often you think about these things that you did.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. I usually think about a lot of things, but I don't think about like what truly helped me. Like I know it was personal development, but there's so many things. Like it was like one of the things that really helped me. So thank you for bringing this up, because now I'm remembering. Okay. Was taking myself on coffee dates, because I felt like I deserved it. I was very uncomfortable with being by myself. And once I learned through personal development that loving yourself and taking yourself places would make you feel more comfortable and confident with yourself. And that's kind of, I think it was like a lot of different things, but it all trickles down to wanting to be better, wanting to change your life.
For you.
And then you become a better person, a better friend, a better partner, a better daughter, like, a better tia.
I mean, no, I think I'm like sitting here and I'm just like in awe. I'm just like so happy for you.
Did I answer your question?
You so did.
I feel like I'm everywhere.
You so did. No, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I think it's beautiful that that to me, like that what you just like illustrated for me was like, you did what you deserved. And that, I think that was the pattern I was seeing in those little, the things you tried. Because it's not these big things, it's these little things that sort of come together and you're like, holy shit, I did all that. And that really, I think that's beautiful. And it goes back to like, I think that you really took the time for yourself. You tried different things, and it was just cool right now to see your process, because now it makes sense. And you really took a chance on yourself, and you took time for yourself. And I think that is very important. And I think, that's why I asked you, like, how did you feel about remembering that? Because we have to remember, like, even those little things that really played a role in growing. Like you said, you want to evolve and grow. And I feel like what you did right there, like, that was you being true to yourself about growing and what you deserve, dude. Like, and you may not have gotten it at your employer in that way, but like what you just illustrated for me, like that is Gigi. Isn't that cool? I don't know. Like that's kind of cool.
Well, I never really think about like defining moments in your life. There's gonna be tons of them. Sure. But I feel like the reason why I'm here today is because I took a chance on me. Because if I wouldn't have decided that I couldn't be in this negative world of mine, or this pain that I felt, or at my job, the frustration I felt for having this illusion that I can have all these things. But if you did one more thing, right? But that happens everywhere. So how do you create a life, or how do you create the path that you want? And I mean, looking back, like, it was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of tears. It was a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. And I feel like that, like, learning how to cope with that. Like, when you see someone peaceful, when you see someone like I think being honest with yourself, that took a lot of hard work. And believe me, like, I'm not this patient. I'm not always this patient, or, you know, we're human, you know, but I think being honest and with yourself.
Well, you're saying like it was pain, there was tears, but like, I think that's, I know, again, in my perspective, old Jackie would have been like, oh my God, like, I always thought that these things, these negative things were reasons to stop. But it's like, what your story is telling me, like, is that, like, healing and growing, it encapsulates all of those things. So, but there's not a reason to stop or keep going, because it's all for you, man. Like, all of this is like, that piece is a piece you're bringing to yourself. And yeah, it's funny. Yeah, you see a lot of peaceful people. There's probably a lot of work that they did to get there.
We don't know. We don't know the journey.
You don't know the journey, you know. And I think that that's what's beautiful. So I think you're. Well, I love it. I love seeing your journey as you've painted it, and it makes a lot of sense now. I'm like, yeah, you're in a. I don't know. I feel like you're in a good place. Like.
Thank you. I feel like we're always learning and growing, and there's always something, and I feel like we continue to keep learning and keep evolving. And like, it might look messy, but the journey,
it's your mess.
It's
your mess. You
know?
But
there's so much power when you're honest with yourself and with others. When you're like,
girl,
I don't like the way I behaved on, you know, X, Y, and Z, and I accept it, and now I'm going to be more mindful that it doesn't happen again, you know? I think there's so much power in that, because how many people have done things or have said things, and they don't think they did anything wrong, but they did, you know? So I think there's a lot of power in that.
And it's compounded, right? Like, if somebody doesn't want to take accountability, or they don't want to be honest with themselves, it comes out it manifests in other ways, right?
I absolutely agree.
Right? I mean, then you feel it, but with other people who are, you know, being honest, like, for me, I'm very honest about this on the channel, you know, being honest with my identity. Like, the more and more I denied it, I was like, it was harder. And then the minute I just started to really just be honest with myself, I'm like, so it could be like major things like that, right? Or it could be smaller things, like literally I love that. I usually wear this other Cafecito shirt, and there have been times where I'm rushing, and I like freaking my makeup foundation splatters all over it. And so today I was very purposeful. It's like, okay, what have I learned, Jackie? Okay, how do I
it comes in different.
It does. And I literally was like, was very slow. I was like, you know, because and I'm like, and it's about really, what I'm realizing is that trust that you have with yourself is like, you talk about the mess. It's like, the mess is there for you. It's like there to serve you. And so it's like, okay, what did I learn from that mess? And the question is, why I'm more open to it now, because I recognize like what happens when I don't do that, right? Because it did lead me to like bad coping habits and depression. But I guess what helps you kind of like recognize how, like, to be honest with, like, what makes you help in those moments, like, be like, I'm going to be honest with myself right now, Gigi. Like, what do you think about to make you be?
I love that. Honest. I feel like, honestly, sometimes if you're not honest with yourself, your body will tell you.
Oh, okay.
I feel like the anxiety kicks in. I feel like you can't sleep. I mean,
you're a therapist, you know. A therapist said this.
Are you
literally,
serious?
and not in those words, but they basically were like, depression is there to, like, it's telling you things. It's telling, girl. So you're like,
that really.
Ooh, you should get up and work. You should get what is it?
You deserve therapy. No. So I'm like, I'd be the one needing all the work. So.
Oh my God, you're so funny.
And I love that.
Yeah.
But it's something that I know, but I don't really talk about. But I mean, I can tell with myself. I'm like, oh, like I'm feeling a little stressed out. Like, and sometimes we don't really think about a big reason why, but sometimes it could just be like your dog or something happened where, like, for me, it's like sometimes small things like, did I close the door? Did I lock it? And then I start having a little bit of anxiety, but I know that I would never leave the door open because it's just who I am. Like little things like that, you know? And sometimes it's really big things where it's like, maybe my mom got a call from the doctor, which this is true. And we don't have exact labs and things like that. So like my body starts kind of getting a little bit of anxiety, but it's like taking the moment to think about, like, almost like analyzing, like, okay, for instance, the situation, like we don't have exact details. So why would I stress when we don't have exact details? So it's almost like putting a pause.
That's awesome, dude. That's like, I'm hearing it because I think a lot of people need to hear like those are, because the thing is like the moments is what, if you group them all together, you throw, you like hug all those moments or you group them, that's what exacerbates, or that's what things, that's what if you're, how do I say this? Over time, things are compounding, right? So imagine those moments and you didn't do that, right? So now you're not doing that and you're doing the opposite, right? And so over time, this is the group of decisions or not decisions or whatever that you've made. So it's like, from now that you say it like that, I'm like, oh, it makes sense that like I dwindled down, because I wasn't making decisions or I wasn't behaving in a way that was going to I was going to build that trust with myself, or I was going to learn how to make those decisions. So, but I mean, like, oh, okay.
I love that.
Right? Because that
makes sense.
I hope people understand that it's like maybe where you're at right now might be due to not having the right tools to build that trust with yourself, right? Because once you start doing it, like you said right now, it makes sense that you would do that. Like you're taking the time to do that, and it comes natural to you because you've built that trust with yourself.
It's a skill that you have to build within yourself.
It is. People think it's just like a natural thing. No, it's a skill. You build it.
It's almost like when you see other people at higher levels of maybe where we want to be, right? And we're like, how are they like that? Like it seems unbelievable, but I'm sure there's maybe people that don't do it at all, and maybe see like, how do you know that? It's because you have to work on it. But there's different levels of being conscious of these certain things, and
conscious, that word, conscious,
That's why I say, like,
conscious
we're always
decisions.
getting better. If you're mindful, like, you're always getting better. And I think that's why it becomes it becomes easier to be more graceful with yourself.
Ooh,
because you're
say that again.
Well, you deserve champagne. Our motto is to be graceful with yourself. Ooh. Like, the more you work on yourself, the more that you are honest with yourself, the more that you take accountability, all those weird things that we don't want to do.
That we don't want to do. Wait, let's think about it for a second. I know we're joking, we're laughing, whatever, but like I feel like we don't want to do these things. So one of our episodes that I just filmed was about being uncomfortable.
Oh, I love that.
I do feel like one of the reasons that we don't want to do things is because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. It's too hard.
It's too hard.
So here's the thing, and I always try to remind myself with everything that I do. Like, even when I get frustrated with, you girls get it, like, doing everything by yourself can be really freaking hard. Like, running social media is hard on its own. Like, that's a whole job on its own. Like, trying to source something
call higher
else.
Call higher AS.
Oh, please call them. Like, that's why. But see, like, that's why I think it's so important to have a business like yours, because someone like myself that is a one person does everything, it becomes very challenging. Yeah. But to say that, I feel like, I lost my train of thought.
I'm so sorry.
Being graceful. Sorry, so many great things.
So many great things.
Higher AS.
I'm actually trying to be more deserving of saying like, I'm going to promote my show if I can.
You should.
'Cause sometimes I get all like, I don't want to, but I'm like, no, like, I deserve
I feel like
champagne.
It's easier, and I think that you get this because you work with other companies. Yeah. Like, you see them in the best eyes. Like, to you, they're the best, right? Yeah. Because you're promoting them and their services, and you're helping them create the brand that they want. But I feel like when it comes down to yourself, and I'm very guilty.
Ourselves,
I'm like, right? I'll do it tomorrow.
Right?
Yeah, because we don't think that we see ourselves in those eyes, but it shouldn't be that way.
But we all deserve, So,
yes.
But I don't want to lose your train of thought. I totally
To be graceful.
Graceful, yes.
Yeah.
Let's be graceful.
To do all the things gracefully, even when they're ugly. You know what I mean? Even when you feel like you're at the bottom, do it gracefully because
Ooh.
I mean, you have to work through it if you want to. I mean, you should. It's going to make you happier. It's going to make you better. But I feel like doing all the things gracefully, even when you are not feeling the greatest, it naturally you start feeling better because you're patient with yourself. You're loving of yourself. But I think it all ties back to one another. Love yourself. And it's all like little baby steps.
Whew. That grace, man. I love that. It reminds me a lot of, it's almost like that grace that you're talking about. Like, how do you want to experience, like, I want to go back to, if it's okay, the moment that you talked about how, what you kind of learned through losing your father. You said something really, like, poignant about, you realize, like, I'm going to totally butcher what you said, but, like, this idea of, like, yeah, like, we don't know when our day is, so, like, how do we want to experience it to the max for ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it happened so quickly, and I saw it.
No.
Like, it happened in front of my eyes where, you know, he often went to the doctor and to the hospital, and we just thought it was going to be the same. Like, he'll be back, or, you know, and I was in the ambulance with him.
Oh,
I mean, I did like, from beginning to end.
Wow.
So losing him that quick really made me realize that I have to be the best version of me, however that journey looked like. And it wasn't easy, but it made me realize that I have one parent, I have one sibling, I mean, basically, if you think about it, you have one of every, like, you don't have two of one person, right?
Yeah.
So being able to acknowledge that and like not staying mad, you know?
You were graceful with yourself, dude. That's what it sounds like. And that's hard.
That is super hard. I think that's one of the hardest things to do because it's almost like you have to set your pride aside. But I mean, honestly, I think it really works the fact that I like to talk about, like, if something's bothering me, like, I like to express it because it frees me.
Yes, it's liberating.
You know, and not everybody is the same way.
You're being honest with yourself. Do you see that there's these tools and themes that you're using that are really helping you through really hard times.
Yeah.
And I'm sure really, you know, even small moments that, again, build up. Yes. So I think I'm really happy that you're in a space where you have these skills and it's helping you through because, yeah, you know, there's hard moments like that where it's like, what's the alternative? Like, being upset and, you know, going down another path that doesn't allow you to be here right now with what you have right now in front of you. And that's hard. Right? Things are hard. They are hard. But, you know, just like your business and, you know, I'm sure, like, dude, you're hustling and you're putting out there, but, like, I see you happy though, right?
I'm so happy I mean, we're, like, I keep saying, like, we're human and we're not always 100% happy.
And there's hard moments.
Yes.
Sure, there are, but consistently,
when I think about You Deserve Champagne and the impact that it has made, when I meet people, when I share the story, this is a more impactful part of the journey is when other people share their champagne story with me. I'm like, to see someone go through very similar things and them feel like they were alone, because I felt alone for a long time. But life changes when you do celebrate yourself, because you naturally connect with people that are relatable. Because when I think about the person who was negative, who wasn't happy, who was dealing with some very difficult things, I was attracting the same sort of people. So when you are this glowing person to yourself and is honest with themselves, you attract that. Like, hello, Jackie.
Hello, Gigi.
Hello. I mean, that's how we connected.
I agree, 100%. Dang.
You know what I mean? You've dealt with the same situation with being honest with yourself, but different scenarios. But you get it.
I totally get it. And that day that we met, my dog wasn't doing too well, and it was at the heel of that little chapter. And I was like, you know what? I need to go, because I know in this Casa Bloom Studios, by the way, I mean, that's Social Club, by the way. I'm gonna plug them because you do need community. I was like, I need people around who are like this. Like, I was like, I need to just remind myself that, like, because a lot of the times it's like, and you know, despite things that are not going the way we have planned, like there are always spaces to reach in, to lean in. And so when I saw you, I was like, I just was able to be present, and I don't want people to limit themselves to not being open to those opportunities because of some, negative things. And that's the whole point of Deserve Champagne is like, dude, like you deserve it all. And yes, there are going to be hard moments and struggle, challenges, but it's like, I don't know, then you won't be able to see the bright lights,
I feel like you often don't see the hard work you put in until you start surrounding yourself with very like-minded people. Because if you are in the same circle of maybe people that are not working on themselves or believe in personal development, because let's face it, I think this is something that we also feel very passionate about, that being Latino is we're often made fun of because we want to be different, because
I'm LGBTQ, so there are going to be people making fun of us, like, oh, why do you need a pride and this and that. It's like
it's always something to criticize.
Something.
So I feel like when you plug yourself into groups like you mentioned, Amiga Social Club, it's honestly like, please invest in yourself.
Yes.
It's really hard to find friendships these days, and I feel like when you do plug yourself in spaces like Amiga Social Club or any of community events where it's people or just like other women trying to find other women, your life changes, honestly.
Yeah, you're not limited to what, families are great and close friends are great too, but you're not limited to that. Like as you grow, right, you will want to seek other additional, support and people and this idea of like being honest with yourself and like people are going to always say something. People are going to always talk. But it's like, when you, let's see if I'm going to say this right. But
you'll say it right.
Okay, thank you. But like, the truth is that like, you have to be honest with yourself so that you can be the person you want to be. Because when you are the person you want to be, or you're being true to yourself, it's like, you're grounded, you don't let the outside chatter affect you as much. I think a lot of us think, because there's this chatter, we have to do something with this. Is like the decision, like you said, I'm trying to tie it back to what you're saying. It's like, you can make the decision to not make a decision. You can make a decision to assess what's coming at you, and you make the decision, right? Like, because why? Because you're honest with yourself, you build trust with yourself. And these are things that like, I feel like growing up, like, I did not have any concept of. I feel like, listen, being a parent is really tough, is what I'm understanding through all this healing, is like, it's a lot of work. And so like, what are the key foundational things will help? And what I'm hearing from other people, which I think is really cool, is this idea of like, you are your first love.
I love that so much.
Dude, how many of us are like, and this is gonna sound really, but I feel like this is up your alley. But until I would say this year, I verbally said to Anna, I was like, wow, I didn't know I was capable of making myself happy. Like literally saying those words, believing them to be true. And because it just sort of like, it was just a click moment of all these little moments in my life.
I love that. I love that for you. And I love that because that's a beautiful feeling to feel. That you can make yourself happy. Yeah. And if you make yourself happy, you make Anna happy because you're happy.
Oh, yeah.
And you make your family happy because you're happy. Like it's all
dang, yeah.
But if someone in your circle is not happy, then like it's hard to like kind of it's such a weird way to put it, but like everyone should be on the same happy vibe.
It should, but you know what? I have to say, at that same token, I'm a people pleaser, like straight up, like try not to use that term, but that's what I feel like my trajectory was, because I do believe that like I was like, is there something wrong with me growing up? I was like, there's something wrong with me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the focus off me. I'm gonna make sure everybody else is good, because I don't like how I feel about myself, but I want to make sure other. Oh my God, I'm gonna lose my train of thought. But no, wait, I'm onto something. I promise. But when you come to like right now, where I feel like, you know what, like, wow, I'm capable of making myself happy. There's sort of this sort of pressure and weight off of myself of like trying so hard to make other people happy so that when there's a moment where there's a friend or somebody who like they're not in a good mood or something's not happening, you know, all I can provide is like who I am, right? So if they want to hear my advice, I'm here. But I'm also not going to take that on because that's also very...
I love that you say that.
Damage. You know, it's also heavy to carry that, but I also know like, hey, like I know that I've done the work, and if this person wants to reach out, like I'm here for them. And if they're not, I respect that. Whereas I think in the past I'd be like, why not? And you know, it's frustrating, but now I'm like, you know what? Like I'm good. I'm okay. I don't know if that even makes sense.
I totally connect with that because vice versa. Like if I'm having a not good day or season or whatever, like I'd rather distance myself from people for a little bit while I get my thoughts together, while I get my shit together. Because it's not fair. It's not fair to put that in, and vice versa. Like it's not fair for someone who is mindful of it, and then you feel like it's heaviness. Like, and I've already dealt with a lot of heaviness with losing my father. Like I know the feeling. My mom being critical. Like it's a lot to take in, and therefore putting even like a little bit of like that heaviness on someone, like. It's just better to like take care of yourself and when you're ready, but it's so important to have people that understand that.
Well, that's the it's a two-parter thing, right? It's like it's people that understand where you're at and like it's respect, respect with each other.
I love
and
that.
And it has to, but it's. Yeah.
But it all comes with self-love
and honesty. You talk a lot about seasons. I do want to talk about that for a second because I think it's very true, and I think. Again, I think a lot of us, all of this stuff, I think I was blinded by because, again, I didn't know how to take care of myself. So then I don't know if I knew how to take care of other people. Maybe I overcompensated at times with work and whatnot. But I love this idea of seasons. So I recently learned that when you eat, it's actually I don't know if I told you about this when I saw you, but that you're meant to. It's good to eat with the seasons. Like if it's fall, you eat squash, or in the summer you eat.
No, we didn't have this conversation.
Oh, did I not tell you about this? Okay.
I love squash.
Oh, great. So I thought I was like, wow, that's such a, human, like, I don't know what you would call it, like body, physical education sort of learning. But I feel like when you talk about seasons and mental health and like allowing yourself, you deserve seasons. Maybe I should say it like that. Can we talk a little bit about what seasons means to you and how how do you apply it to your life?
Yeah. So I am having.
What are we having right now?
So I'm having a season of. Well, before I talk about the seasons, and it's going to tie back.
Okay.
So you mentioned about being grounded, right? So
come on. Did I? No, I did.
Dramatic.
I mean, I am a telenovela fan.
I love that.
I'm all grounding. ¿Yo dije eso? ¿Yo?
You're like, get here at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Sorry.
Las dos dramáticas.
It's our inner child.
I think it is.
That's what happens when you watch novelas.
But you know what? But you know what? That's a prime example of how much I've changed because I'd be like, because I understand. It's like I understand where you're coming from. Because I'm like, yeah, you're right. So for me, I was like, oh, you're being. I didn't think you were being. I mean, I thought it was funny that you were being dramatic, but I was like, I don't know. I felt like this level of trust with you.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes sense.
But I felt that from the beginning.
See? Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
I love that.
Okay. Anyway, go on.
So 2024, I want to be in a season of feeling grounded, and it might be a long season because it's hard. I don't want to feel like what you mentioned. I don't want to feel like when it's really like busy, busy noise. I want to feel grounded. So I think I'm in a season right now where I'm taking it slow, and I'm adapting to. Like not everyone has the same season at the same time. Kind of like
that is so true.
Kind of like not like for me, my year started June of 2023. Like it wasn't like January 1st, 2024.
Oh, yeah, it was June.
So and I've never done that before, and it was because like it kind of goes hand in hand with like what was going on in my personal life, where I'm like I made a decision. And that's when I actually pivoted for You Deserve Champagne and did You Deserve Champagne services and being a mobile, like the whole rentals and things like that.
Yeah, we'll put her information in the description so you'll
check
see.
Me out.
Check her out.
But that's when I pivoted too. So that's when really my year started. But like, when you see a lot of things happening in the world, like naturally it's New Year's, like you feel like anxiety, you feel like it's like, oh my God, I didn't prepare myself. But it's like, you have to be graceful with
I was going to say, what was your anxiety telling you about you? What do you think it was for you?
I think it was like I pivoted in June of 2023, and I felt like it was my new year, and I felt a lot of pressure of like January. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't prepare myself. Like, what's happening? But everybody's seasons are different, so I wanted to feel I want to feel grounded, where like those things I'm able to manage better, where I feel like it's okay, you're in a different season of your life, and I'm happy to see everyone thrive in their season, but I'm not in theirs, and I have to be mindful of that what we see and what our friends go through, and what other people that our internet friends, right, we don't know them, but they're our friends, that they're in different seasons, and I cannot compare that comparison of like I should have been doing X, Y, and Z, right?
Well, that comparison thing, it always comes back to what you're saying about like, be honest with yourself, like, and it's a skill, right? It's like, if you're feeling a comparison, you have to ask yourself, like, why am I feeling this way? Well then, but also recognize, like, where are you at? What's your season? You know, what does success look like for you? And then just bring it back to like, trust yourself, like trust your decisions. And I'm always about like, just focus on what you're doing. Like focus on your craft, focus on like, because don't let, it's like, because you have to respect other people's seasons and lanes and be like, you know,
and
like,
I feel like it's not about us when someone else is like in their great season. It's about them, and I feel like our seasons are gonna look different, and I feel like you know, maybe someone's having a very joyful season, and maybe we're having a joyful season. Maybe your friend is having a season of joyfulness professionally, but maybe you're having a joyful moment personally. So I think it's just how you see things, and to me, like being grounded and not feeling distracted by the noise or by the craziness of that's happening out or around us, I think is something that I want to be more mindful of on a personal level. But I think on a professional level, I don't think I know. I'm working on community. So if you connect yourself with what I'm saying, let's be friends. I feel like there's a lot of women and other people in general that are looking for You Deserve Champagne, and they haven't found You Deserve Champagne.
But here, hopefully they found it here.
Yeah. And it's going to be a journey of finding new friends and finding people that connect with You Deserve Champagne, and that's the season I'm in. Connection.
I think you're always going to be in this season. I feel like you're always going to be connecting with people. I think that's going to be your, like, having, you know, sat with you today, it was like, oh my God, like it's all there. Like, I'm so happy that you were able to, like, you have a lot of wisdom is what I'm trying to say. I mean, I did say you basically like said something a therapist told me.
So sweet.
I'm like, oh my God.
That means a lot to me. Because I don't ever really think about, like, I do think about it, but I don't think about it out loud, if that makes sense. Okay. And maybe it's because I'm not having these conversations with my friends. You know what I mean?
Maybe not.
Maybe that's what it is. So here comes Jackie, and we're like, let's talk about all things.
Well, it's just like you are just, I can tell you're like treating yourself so well so that you can you're doing it. I mean, that's all we can ever do. But you're doing the work though. You're putting in the work, you're using your tools, and I think that's, I want people to know that it's approachable, it's possible.
Yes.
You know, it's beautiful, it's wonderful.
It's a beautiful journey.
It is.
It can be difficult, but it's such a beautiful journey when you're on the other side.
So worth it.
And once you look back, you're like, I could never see myself not wanting to work on it. Yeah. You know, it's bettering yourself is just the best gift you can give yourself. And it's all there. It's all been there. Like, I really encourage everyone to think about any time in their life where they feel that they're proud of something they've achieved or something they've worked through or they've learned. Because even that story right now where you tell me like how you tried these little things to get you to the you know, crossing over point of your life, and it's like, yeah, we have to remind ourselves, like, we even if it's small or big, like, we've done things in our life that we can be in awe of, and it will remind us what we're capable of. You know, I remember I
I'm very candid about being was in therapy, but I remember last year when I started my business, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go back. I went back for 6 months because it was just too much of a life change. I had done some really good fundamental work. My therapist was like, okay, you talked about last year about how it was really healing, it was really good. Like, remind yourself of the things that you were doing. And I was like, it's so funny, we're so quick to just like move on.
Or like
it's
put it in the back.
Yeah. And I was like, shoot. I was like, oh, you're right. And so I started thinking about all the things I was doing, and I was thinking about what I experienced, what I felt. You know, I very much think feelings are very important, and that's something that as a kid I was afraid to admit, and I'm being more honest with myself, and that's why I'm here talking. We're talking about food and feelings here at Donas and Totos, because those are such a that's what fuels a lot of decisions we make, and so. Yeah, I thought, okay, I started to think about the things I did, and so right now I was like so happy to hear these little things that you did, because I'm also inspired by those, because sometimes we're overwhelmed by these big terms or big things, but then when you break it down and you think about the things you actually did, you're like, oh shoot, I think I could try that, you know.
I love that. They're little baby things that make huge difference.
Yes.
And I just want to mention that talking about your feelings or talking about feelings, I think when you're able to recognize the feelings that you felt or just talk about your feelings, I think that's such an asset.
Yeah.
Like, how many people have you met, or how many people are going through, like, they naturally cannot express themselves, and here like I find that so easy, and I think it's an asset because it's helping me kind of get through very difficult times, you know, or very happy moments, because then I'm like overly happy when I see friends or whenever they're going through something or whatever, but like I think don't be shameful if you want to express yourself. And maybe if you do feel shameful, maybe you're not surrounded by the right people. So maybe
that's
you
true. Maybe
work on that.
Well, if you're in Orange County, Amiga Social Club is pretty cool.
Yes.
Cool space to meet
Very
some
cool
people.
Space.
Because it can be daunting and scary, but even you talk about these internet friends, I'm like, I've met some really cool people on the internet.
Yes.
On the internet, it sounds weird to say like on the internet, but yeah, on the internet, it's pretty cool.
No, it's not weird anymore. It used
It's
to
not,
be
huh?
weird. No, now it's like my friend. Not internet friend.
Yeah, not my friend.
But I just said internet earlier to be specific.
Well, I think you, my friend, have a really cool way to end the conversation today.
I sure do.
Do you want to tell them what you want to do?
Yeah.
Tell the folks out there?
We are going to, of course, pop bubbly and celebrate ourselves for...
Why?
Because we deserve champagne.
Oh, you like got scared.
I'm like, what?
I was trying to figure out like how did she put it in there?
Yeah, we deserve champagne. I mean, we've done all this work to not deserve champagne. I don't think so.
Look cute in these. Can you tell they're pink? Yeah, right?
Yeah, you can tell.
Okay, good. Hello to Gigi's camera over there. Okay, so you're so sweet, and I just want to say, first of all, like, thank everybody who's come here, and it's so nice to me, but it's also nice to Anna. Aww. It's so welcoming to Anna. I know she appreciates it, and so you want to invite Anna, right, for this cheers?
Of course.
So
let's get her.
Let's get her.
Does she want to bring the bubbly while she
Yeah, I'll tell her. You having a good time?
I'm having the best. I don't want to stop.
I love to hear that.
I love it here.
Well, I always tell people, I'm like, you're always welcome to come back because I want to see how your year went.
Oh my God,
so maybe like later half of this year, if you want to come by and see how you've been.
Absolutely.
Because that's always cool. Okay, so Anna, you want to grab the bubbly for us?
Sure.
Okay, so what I love about your bubbly is that it's there's champagne with alcohol, and then there's somewhere it literally says removed alcohol.
Alcohol
I
removed.
didn't know. Oh, alcohol removed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Anna.
And I love it.
You want to come here? Anna?
Yes.
In the middle.
Let's put our coffee away now.
Anna, do you think you deserve champagne? Oh, sorry, I keep on saying champagne. Wait, let's say that again. Anna, do you think you deserve champagne?
I deserve it all.
I love
Anna has always been of the
that.
mindset of that she deserves it all. Do you want to tell her why you think that is?
I don't know.
She just.
You caught her off guard.
When I met her though, I could tell that that was her anthem too.
It's a vibe. You deserve champagne is a vibe.
Yeah.
It's sometimes you can't express it like Anna, but you just know it, and I think that's such a beautiful quality. Because like me, I had to work really hard for that. But you just know, and there's gonna be some of you people that just know you do, and I freaking love that for you. Donas y tortas, you deserve champagne.
Woo! All right.
Did that come out good?
Yeah, pour it in, pour it in.
I love pouring. It just makes me so happy.
Does it? Why does pouring make you happy?
It makes me happy because I know when you're gonna consume it, you're gonna get happy.
Oh.
And it just looks so beautiful. Look
It
at
really
it. Look at the
does.
pour when you like.
Oh.
Bubbles. Bubbly always, even if it doesn't have alcohol, it just makes people happy, you know? Let's add this.
Well, what are we gonna add? What are we adding?
We're gonna add a customized drink topper.
What? No way. No.
I got you, girls.
Oh my god.
Wait, what is that?
It says you deserve champagne. It's an edible.
Edible.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is so cute. No way.
The two of you? Yeah. Y'all deserve champagne.
We sure do.
We sure do. You too, Anna. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you so much, Gigi.
Thank you.
Woo, you and you.
You
deserve champagne.